Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon Over Baseball with your host Bob and co-host Jeff today.
What is up?
Jeff, I haven't seen you in a long time. I guess I'm
Dude,
still not seeing you
I haven't
technically.
seen you. I haven't seen anybody.
Yeah.
We just came out of a hellhole. Is that putting it lightly?
Yeah.
A hellhole 3 months, I think, for everybody collectively. So there seems to be very much light at the end of the tunnel now. But
Oh yeah.
holy smokes.
Yeah. So we haven't done one of these in 6 months. Life gets in the way and busy, and I think I got sick with COVID once, and then just life and my work all of a sudden picked up and crazy.
Right. We have wanted to come back to this. We had leagues in between, running that.
Yeah.
Feels like it's finally like a deep breath moment. We can, we've been wanting to finish this 2000 series for a while now.
Yeah, it's like I finally and when I was using all my free time to do the league. Now we haven't started the next league yet, so I do have this break, and obviously I can get back to podcasting a little bit.
Right.
But I do podcasts here and there. It's just a different type of podcasting these days. But we'll get back to this baseball one, and obviously if you've been paying attention to the channel, you've seen Jeff a handful of times doing some TTS stuff and some league stuff. So I always pay attention to him. He's always got some fun statistical stuff ready and creative things coming up the pipeline.
I think in my the last podcast I did, I think I called them statistical stats.
Oh, I love it.
Which was
what else could they be?
Right. That they're every one of the stats we're going to talk about is without question statistical stats. Our buddy Kevin, dude, has been in our leagues. He's like the bridge to basically Bob and I meeting. He texted me after that I put that out, which I loved it because it means he's listening. I think he would hate for people to know that he's listening.
Absolutely.
But he texted me and said, your next team name has to be statistical stats. and I think
it's actually a really fun name.
Right. It's like, I think that's like a band name, statistical stats,
there you know? Go.
So we'll get there.
So next up today we have this theme song. Which I did not know this was the theme song for the Cubs. But it's interesting. I always think of the seventh inning stretch, but not
I can never hear these.
I know.
On my side. No. It's okay because I love it because then it's like something I get to experience when I hear the podcast back.
Yeah. So I have it playing through my computer, and then I have headphones on because if not, I get this weird relay between you and me where it echoes. So if it hears you coming from the speakers of the computer, then you're talking and hearing yourself in this infinite loop.
Right.
So
the 99 Cubs, I think most people might know this, but they were pretty bad, really bad.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because maybe they've never, it's so funny, maybe just because I'm so warped because they just, they beat my, they beat our team, in the World Series, but they were 67 and 95 that year. The divisions were weird, but they were solidly six in the NL Central. So not the best year, but they were still looks like 6th of 16 in attendance.
Well, they're Chicago.
They're Chicago. It's Cubs. So,
but they have a couple players to note. Obviously, one will be the foil, and then I think their pennant run has a couple fun cards, especially we'll talk about a misprint. So let's jump right into it. First up is Rick
Aguilera.
Yeah, don't ask me, guys. But
hey, closer bonus, still great.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a 3-3-18. So obviously that's like a Randy Johnson type, obviously without the no doubles or singles, I guess. But
right.
I don't know. I again, we always go back to John Johnstone and obviously R.I.P. Real Cormier. But those cards, Alan Embry, why would I pay the same price for this guy when I could have a 16 out kind of player?
Right. Those guys, even if other cards or other pitchers, relievers specifically, are usable and pretty good, which I think Rick is absolutely that, the cards you just mentioned wrecked all other cards for us. And it's so funny because I would even suggest that not only did they wreck the other 2000 relievers, they've like honestly destroyed our perception of all other relievers. Like
Well, yeah,
throughout
I was posting my 96 stuff, and people were like, "Oh, these salaries seem odd,"
right.
and I'm like,
It's
"Well,
like,
you're all warped."
right. We just like, so like Bob and I, we just finished our 2001 NL only, league, and the relievers for that are adjusted accordingly, like what they should have been, probably a little bit above. And we all just collectively hated spending so much money for those relievers, just because, again, these cards, even Rick ruined it for us, because Rick in 2001 is probably, I mean, 210 points, 220. I mean, like, this is a really good card, actually.
comparatively.
Right.
But like, yeah, and by the way, side note, if you guys are looking for a fun little league with only a few players, we only had 8 people in that league, right? And we did we did 2001 NL only. When you really cut that league in half, it makes the draft super good.
Oh, it was go listen. We have a preseason, mid-season, and a postseason recap,
and all the Cleveland Tribes games.
Yeah, all of your games. Yeah, because my computer cannot handle recording and running TTS at the same time. But it was like, honestly, probably the most I learned from Showdown in a particular league ever, to be honest. I playing NL rules with pitchers batting. I really everybody was forced to kind of get into the bench game and, pinch running, pinch hitting kind of mentality, which I never did before. I always just believe, spend the money on your guys that are batting. Don't worry about bench. And then, like, honestly, like the way the draft went, like, guys, there was no good starting pitchers. And, looking back, one of my first picks was overreaching for a starting pitcher who inevitably was awful. Right. So, like, I looked back and wish I would change that. Relievers, kind of similar thing. There were just not a ton of great guys. There actually are great relievers in just the NL. I mean, you have Rob Nen, Tom Gordon, Gabe White. I mean, there's a lot, but cutting it in half, it was a really interesting experiment.
Yeah, it made the teams very interesting. So anyway, back to the Cubs here. Again, I don't know if anybody's grabbing Rick, but he's okay. I'd more like to see him in a blind draft than I would drafting him.
Totally.
Next up is Jeff Blauser. Okay, I don't.
Kind of interesting.
It's weird. I don't. His face looks hilarious, but but I don't like the 6 through 12 walk, 13 through 16 single. Like, obviously, 17 triple is nice, and he's 8 on base, but I don't know. 5 outs, rough.
I actually like taking out points. I actually kind of love this card. A lot of walks. That's whatever. Single at 13 is rough. That's brutal. The no double 17 triple is just super. Of course, I just love shit like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've, like, again, coming out of the 01 league, the utility here is pretty great. But it's one thing with utility, and, like, I think there's a certain point, I think a lot of people listening would agree with this, like, having it, unless there's that 1/5 bench rule, which I think is dumb. I think players cost what they cost, like, and they exist in that way. Like, a 320 point guy on your bench to be utility is, like, really, like, that's honestly just blind draft bench stuff, right? Like, this guy would be perfect for that and exist perfectly in that. Unless you're doing massive substitutions, like holistically, like around the entire field, I just don't know how Blauser kind of works, right? Because you can do better at each of these positions for 320 probably.
I agree. Next up, Kyle Farnsworth. So pretty rough. Yeah. You obviously, if you're having a 4 control guy, you want that 16 out. You're not getting it here, and you're loading up on singles, and then obviously the home run here is a killer. And for 170, that's just way too pricey. It wasn't until later on did they start, like, making starters, like, in the middle between 10 points and, like, 100 and something.
Right. This is really interesting because, like, I mean, his tier is actually not the worst. And at 170, it's not actually still horrible, but that 1920 homer. And I think, like, I'm trying to think of, I think this is basically Masato Yoshi. It's basically the same card, I think. And I mean, we just had him in our last league. He got continually rocked. And it was unusual because he wasn't getting rocked on his own chart, which, as you can see here, is bad. It was just very unlucky. The rolls didn't go their way, but I'm curious. I'm actually trying to look it up quickly to see kind of the points difference there. But this is, that's really interesting to me because
it's just rough. Like, that's 25% of his chart. Like, and I guess a little bit less. 20% is like hits, which really hurts. Like, you're okay with like 18, 19 single, 20 double, 15%, and the highest being a double. This is just a lot of like 10% or extra base hits. That's just too much for me. And I mean, he had a 5.05 ERA that season, and he just did not do well.
So Masato Yoshi is almost the exact same card, except for just one ground ball switches to a fly ball on one of them. And Masato in 2001 is actually 20 points less. Same innings pitch, same. And so I think at 150, I'm like, maybe I can swing that. Like, that's where I'm saving some money.
But he got killed.
but he got killed. And like, I think if we ran the league again, did another 20 games, maybe he doesn't get killed because, one thing we've been kind of, just pounding in everybody's brains and everybody's thinking about it now is that we kind of proved that like pitchers who give up home runs, Yoshi accepted, that pitchers who give up home runs are not the worst, and like you can roll with them and like do okay. Because some of our best pitchers in that league somehow, Darren Dreifert, for a great example, were guys, and Kevin Tapani, I don't know, guys who gave up home runs actually did pretty well. Yeah. So it's risky.
Usually it's only 5%. It's not that the 20 home run is like, oh my God, because it's only 5%. It's that 25% of his chart is getting on base, and 20% of that is hits, and he's only a 4. Like, it's a little rough. Yeah. So anyway, Gary Gaetti. So we might have to tag not Gary Gaetti on this card as we post it. Yeah, legend on Twitter here. Wow. So interesting card here. Obviously, sweet that you can slide in for a third base +3 at only 100 points. I don't like that 6 to 9 walk, 10 to 15 single, but power chart, I guess if you're waiting for a mistake pitch, who cares at that point?
Dude, it's just such a wild card. And yeah, it's like I can't think of that
up in this photo.
And like a lot of sun, has to be spring training. Helmet looks weird. It's just like, this is a legendary card.
So he's a righty. Okay, so either he's wearing the wrong helmet or whatever, because you're supposed to have the earpiece on the side facing the pitcher to not get hit. So that's why it looks odd to you. It's because
it looks like, I think he's a switch, because like that looks like his follow through on his like swinging through, like
it says he's like a righty. I don't know,
dude. I think that's a mistake. Like, that looks like, doesn't look like the end of his swing as a left-hander.
Well, you know what? Actually, you know what it looks like? It looks like a catcher helmet that you put underneath, like you'd put underneath your mask.
Dude,
it's just very strange.
It
says he's it says he's a righty.
I'm checking. Yeah, Bat's right. I mean, I'm seeing
it on his Baseball Reference page right now. It's got to be some kind of spring training thing, like you said, like where it's not exactly like he just doesn't care so much. Maybe he's taking some swings, some practice swings. It's a very strange helmet.
Yeah, I mean, he had a crazy long career.
My guess is something happened to his helmet, and he borrowed somebody's by accident, and it was a left-handed helmet.
He had a crazy long career. 99 was his last, I would say, real season. I mean, he had a 308 plate appearances. He's
most
pretty
known
solid.
For the Twins.
Right, most known for the Twins. And then he was with the Red Sox for 11 plate appearances in 2000, and then he was done. So, really interesting. And I mean, honestly, the Cubs Baseball Reference page has him as the starting third baseman. So that's wild. I mean, it's really wild. This guy's great.
Yeah, he should be interesting in my 96 set because he actually did okay. Had like 23 homers and 80 RBIs. Never was a crusher, though, a few years in the 30s when he was in his late 20s. Hit 30 home runs, but just an interesting card. Next up, Mark Grace. Always. Mark Grace, just always valuable. Solid 9 here. 1 through 4 out. He's not gonna I guess wow you, but just having a nice solid 9 B speed, 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run. A lot of stats on this card, and obviously he had a really great year to get this card. And I think he always, like you said offline, he always has a decent card. Like he's always solid.
We have proven, like, between this card, his cards in 2001, because I think he has a Diamondbacks and a Cubs one, because that's when he got traded, or free agency, whatever. But they're all great. Like they're all usable. Like I don't know. He was actually like eligible in our O1 league because of the what was that been the Cubs, and I don't know why, or Diamondbacks. Nobody picked him up,
Mm-hmm.
which was, we looked back and said, how did this guy not get rostered? And I mean, I think the fact an on base 9 who doubles at 16, regardless of what the numbers are, double, triple, home run. The fact that he has a triple for 300 points with an okay speed, and who cares about first base +0. I mean, this card is, and out through 4. I mean, this card is just, I mean, it's great. It's almost perfect, honestly, for 300 points to me.
I like that it's only 300 points. Like I feel like it could be a little bit more pricier and still be okay. 300 points seems nice.
Low.
Yeah, well, it seems
right.
nice. It just seems, I don't know. It seems.
I mean,
I would never be mad about this card.
Right, same here. Cubs were bad, but
especially
I mean,
with B speed.
Right. No, there's the B seeds, because I think he's pretty solid.
Isn't he a C in the Diamondbacks version when he's a 10?
He's solidly a C.
Yeah.
But second on the team in the 99 season in BWAR. So that's I mean, again, we all think of the number one, who's definitely number one.
Doubles. Yeah, that's pretty solid, and 5 triples for a. I mean, he's interesting.
Yeah, not many first basemen with triples.
Mm-hmm.
It's I love those little anomalies.
Next up, Lance Johnson here, a little speedy outfielder getting you the +2. I don't like the ground ball range here, but having the A speed lets you at least hopefully have a chance to beat that out. Again, just giant single range here. I don't know if I'd spend 180 AM, but with the OF +2, it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't mind this card. I just wish maybe the 20 was a home run. But
this card is,
he only had one homer in real life.
Really?
He had one homer in 1999. Not his career. I'm just.
Oh my God, I was about to be holy shit. He I think like the 17-18 single plus 19-20 triple is like subverting all expectations of like what a showdown card should be. And so that's like, for that reason, I just love it. I think the
fun.
the OF +2 I think makes this card, and speed A makes it hyper usable and hyper draftable, honestly, because I think so many of our guys, and you know this, and you did this in our league, like a lot of people put a guy like this as their 9 batter to lead up into the, and I think I've warmed up to that a lot more than I used to, because I
had
just
Tony Womack, who was a 7 speed shortstop, and he couldn't hit home run. He did great for me, absolutely great.
Yeah, he did. This card also, I know we all have these cards, just like to us personally, that I don't know if he was in draft packs all the time, if he was in starter sets, I don't know, but I feel like I had 1,000 versions of Lance Johnson when I was a kid. Like that's like that pose, which is him. I just love it. Him running around the bases, like it's just so cemented. In my brain.
Especially for A speed guys. I love when they're running. Like I like to have the running poses.
It's such a great pose.
Next up, John Lieber, and this is going to be their more solid pitcher, to say the least. I mean, it's a 5 1-15 out, but really hurts you having the 4 singles, which I think is really rough. But I don't know what you're getting here out of the Cubs.
Right, and like I'm trying to think. I'm checking to see if he's been used, or like other guys like him would remind me. Like I don't think
if they don't have to like use it, I'm okay with 16-17 walk, 18-19 single, 20 home run or 20 double. But the no walks, I feel like you'll just get butchered.
I think the 16 being on base and then it all being singles pretty much is just, I'm right with you. That is a rough card. I mean, interestingly enough, that's Greg Maddux from the 2000 set. He's an on or a control 5 single. It's 16 through 19, double 20.
And what is he? Is he 450?
He's 480.
480?
He's a little bit more.
Oh, he's 7 IP. That's why. I was like, why is he so much more? It's because he's 7 IP.
Brian Anderson on the Diamondbacks in 2000 is pretty much the same card as him. Same thing. David Wells in 2001 on the Blue Jays, an extra IP, but same kind of like this chart shows up a lot. David Wells got that chart actually twice, which is funny, very consistent. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen really any of these guys except for Greg Maddux 2000 because we all had him as a kid and had to play with him. I don't see these guys showing up often. The no walks is so scary, and what we've shown in also said this all the time, is, walks in Showdown kind of count as like almost half a single, and just how
that's
it works out.
And that's why you want them if you're the pitcher, and that's why you don't want them if you're the batter.
Right. You can roll 16. You can have the batter roll 16 maybe 2 or 3 times against you with walks if it's a walk. You can't have it happen if it's a single. That's game changing.
Next up, Mickey Morandini. I actually love this guy's name. Love this since I was a kid when I was collecting baseball cards and stuff. The card itself, I think, is underwhelming. I mean, we already have the 7. Without the A speed, I just really feel like you're sort of losing out here.
It's a defense punt, basically.
But it's not even like you're getting a +5.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, if you had to fill a spot.
I mean, he's 110 points. That's it.
Right. I don't know if this is a morning shot or a dusk shot. It seems like it's a morning shot because it is like solidly on one side of his body, like from like it's got to be. He was up at dawn, getting out there.
Yeah, playing a 10 a.m. warm up.
Yeah, this team might win for weirdest charts. Honestly, like I mean, 18 single plus, 19 double, 20 triple is just bizarre. Like they're just weird, and it's great. Like I actually don't mind it. But yeah, not usable. So
yeah, I don't really like it. Next up, Jose Nieves.
I think Neves.
Neves. Ooh, you're probably right. There goes. Again, I'm not really good at these pronunciations. But
I don't think I've ever seen this card before. I'll be honest. I don't think I've ever seen this card. And I scan these damn things in.
I think it's pronounced Nieves.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was thinking maybe with the N-I-E.
Well, online it says NEE-A-VEZ. So, Nieves? Nieves? Maybe Nieves? I don't know.
Do you think shortstop plus 0 and speed C
my gosh.
Are those correlated to each other? Because it seems that way.
It seems like he was their bench player from what I see online here.
Let me see.
Because they had Jose Hernandez as their more... He played more games. It wasn't many more games. So I guess they just flipped him a lot. But, man, plus 0, that's where you need to pick up almost at least some points in the infield. Because if not, you have to get like a +5 second baseman and so if you get a +5 second base, +3 third base, and a +1 first base, you still have a chance. Well, I guess if on a 1 you wouldn't get an error, because we had a 10 or under 10, but geez, you have to max out your other positions just to accommodate this guy. And then you're getting C speed. That's really rough.
Yeah, he's
I don't like
trying to find
his
defensive BWAR, and I can't find it. But
it's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
No, it's probably not good. There's a lot of negative guys on this team.
Jeff Reed, he's gotten picked up. I've seen this. Another interesting chart. No homers.
Dude, Jeff Reed looks like the dad at a little league game who threatens to fight the umpire.
Yeah, he's got a little balding going on.
You know what I mean? He looks like just fucking angry.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be swearing, but he looks angry.
But he's a 9 for 180, and he catches, but not a good arm, and no homers. But he's a 9. I guess that's something.
Another weird chart. I mean, I'm more okay with us having the limit on 3 steals a game. I'm more okay with.
Yeah, I rostered freaking Mike Piazza. I mean,
right? You did okay.
And
right?
I finished best in the starting season, the regular season. So it didn't hurt me as bad but when it did hurt me, it hurt. Like I give up a single or a walk, a stolen base, and then another single, and all of a sudden that was a runner in.
He's got to be, I'm going to check it really quickly, but he's got to be one of the cheapest 9s in the entire 2000 set.
Well, that's what's interesting. So he's only 180. We just talked about Mark Grace being 300,
Oh, he's not. He gets beat out by my dude, Dave Magadon.
Oh, the Magadon.
Oh, my. And Magadon has utility. He's a third base plus 2 and a first base plus 0. That for 170, that card.
Well, he gets picked up a lot because of that. But this is interesting because it's a catcher. So a lot of time drafting a catcher, what are you going to do? You're just going to completely punt. This is like that weird play. Also, this is it's like second to last year of his career, playing at 36 years old in this picture.
I'm going to say how many catchers have a damn triple? Because I just don't think it's many. Like first base, maybe I get it, but it can't be many here.
He had 2 triples in this season that year and only 1 homer. So he had more triples than home runs.
It's more than you think. It's like,
I bet Jeff Kendall does. He's an A speed.
He does not have a triple.
Boo.
Osmus does, Jeff Reed does, Michael Barrett, Joe Girardi, who is actually going to show up, and nobody huge, but Tom Lampkin on the Mariners is pretty solid.
Oh, Tom Lampkin's a really good card though, but that's like that 340, I think, for that, or maybe more.
Man, I'm not talking Mariners, but 340, that card is fantastic.
Oh yeah, he gets picked up all the time.
Oh my gosh.
All right, next up, Henry Rodriguez. Oh, Henry bars. Solid season. I mean, another solid 9. This one's got a little pop to him. I don't like the 5 out, but no ground balls is okay. B speed doesn't really hurt you in the outfield. It's solid. I don't know if I'd pay $390. Like $330, somewhere in that range feels about right. I just feel like this is a little. I mean, especially as Mark Grace being $300. I feel like that's what I'm saying. How I think Mark Grace is so valuable. For 90 more points, am I really getting that much more out of Henry Rodriguez? I don't think so.
Yeah. No, and this crazy.
Just more home
I don't
runs,
think
power.
This maybe I just knew nothing about the Cubs. I don't think I didn't know anything about Henry Rodriguez before I started playing Showdown.
I remember the Henry bars. That's what I remember.
He's really good on that team. He was their, I mean, really good. He was their third best in BUR. Yeah,
but
no,
he had
this
some
is
good career. You wait till you see the '96 version. Well, he played on the Expos then, but he had 36 homers, 103 RBIs. But he led the league in strikeouts. But he had 42 doubles. He had a really good stretch from his, looks like 96 through 99. This is about the last year he was starting to get relevant, and I think that's when I saw the bar. But
it's interesting because his card is like there's 4 other guys like very similar to his card, and I would say all of them we've maybe used or just come along. It's Albert Bell on the Orioles, Mark Quinn foil on the Royals in the pennant run, Robin Ventura on the Mets, and Bubba Trammell. So, and I think
Mark Quinn's a DH only. I remember that.
Well, this is crazy because Albert Bell, Henry Rodriguez, and Mark Quinn are all 390. We've determined that Mark Quinn is just a bad value.
And I used to play him all the time. I loved him, but I don't know. I just had him as a foil.
But Albert Bell, same.
He got shanked.
390. Yeah, he got shanked. We determined that he's a +0 outfield, where left field, right field, where Rodriguez has the +1, but Bell has the 15 single plus. And he's only 1 through 4 out. I mean, Bell is either Rodriguez is overvalued, which is what I think it is, or Bell. I mean, we know Bell, that card, he got shafted.
Yeah, he got shafted, but I feel like this card's I don't know if I'd pay more than $330 for this card. I think he's probably 360 is his right range. I just don't really want it.
Let me open it up to 201, see if there was a lot more guys like him. It looks like so. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, that was kind of Chipper's card or similar, but
Jeff's got all the statistical stats for us.
The statistical stats.
Stats.
That's no question my stats baseball podcast in the future.
I love it.
Anyway, interesting card.
Yeah.
I've never really seen it before.
Next up is Scott Sanders. I've actually played with this card before because he was 70 points, no double. But it's not that good. Just because he's a 0, but he was an 18 out for under 100 points, and sometimes, and especially in 00, if you didn't get like a 10-point player, it was hard to find value, and so you could shove a guy like this into your relief staff and just be like, all right, maybe I'll use him at the bottom of the lineup and just hope to get up, because if you got the chart, you weren't getting hurt.
Right, man.
He looks like a beast. He looks like he's about to fucking mean mug someone.
He looks like a mean MFer. I just I get so mad, stupidly, just it's so dumb. I get so angry that they didn't have the control 1s and the control 2s. Oh yeah, it's just you have these control 3 and above relievers or pitchers, starting pitchers for that matter, that are so good, that are so good and so undervalued, and then just massive waterfall down, the ultimate, roller coaster hill down to these control 0s that are way overpriced.
Now he probably should have had a home run on his chart. He had a 1.6 home run range. So I think how they got away from that is because they gave him the 0. He had a 5.52 ERA and a 1.58 WHIP. He was not good, but they used him a ton. 104 innings. He pitched something more than some of the starters did.
Dude,
he pitched a lot.
They gave him this freaking card.
Should be a 0 or maybe like a 1 or 2 with a home run. Like he did not do good, but this card actually weirdly could be usable. I try to stay away from the zeros, but there's not a lot of good low salary guys. Like unless you're getting like a Dan Plusac or something like that.
Did we ever determine, like, we're just like, again, not knowing anybody who worked for Wizards during the time of Showdown, and maybe that's okay, but did we ever know why they didn't do control 1s and 2s? I know we've talked about it.
I think they just didn't play test and it didn't come across their mind until 00 got popular, and then they were like, oh, there's other things we can do, like give it a batter and 11. We can make a pitcher a 1 and a 2. Now, obviously, the 11 was probably an anomaly because they had set their limits for the 10, and then when it broke it with Delgado and Giambi, and then obviously broke it again in 02 for the 02 version from the 01 cards, but or 01 stats. But
well, I think this whole thing is interesting because like let's look at like the custom sets that you guys have made, right? We now look back 3 years later, look back at 2018 and kind of look at it as like a learning opportunity, almost like a kind of like, we weren't there. Like we were learning a lot. We were, kind of getting the formula right. But like I have very strong, that's my favorite set probably. Like, that 2018 and 2001 are like solidly my favorite sets. If I consider those custom sets, the Bible, which I do, I think it's funny because the way we kind of reflect back on 2018 is kind of being not perfect, but getting us there. It almost feels now looking back in the Showdown world that's what 2000 was. That like 2000 was like not perfect at all, but it's okay. And again, like it's
got nostalgic and that's what's fun about the errors, and we'll talk about one here in a little bit. But that's why when like we have an error on one of our cars, it's kind of funny. Like it's like you guys fucked up.
Right, because it's consistent with those, and this is like all part of the reason why, like, to me, like 2001 is like an almost perfect set to me.
I think the relievers are a little pricey, but other than that, it's a damn good set. The batters I think are really well done, and they did a much better job with relievers. I just feel like they were just a tad high, but I feel like they at least tried and really worked with it a bit, and I think it's much more balanced than 2000. Right. That's why I think it was so much fun playing that league.
Oh man, and what we're gonna do, no doubt, we've already talked about it, is that we're gonna do an 8-person AL. With AL teams and AL rules, and then we're gonna take those 2 teams and have an actual World Series.
That's pretty cool.
I can't freaking wait. Like, I want to, like, it's gonna be more limited because it has to be 8 teams again. But
anyway. That's right, yeah. So next up, Benito Santiago, who looks baller in this picture. I love that he's in his catcher gear and like ready to go. See, that's like the helmet that looks like Gary Gaetti's wearing.
Dude, he took it from him.
Like, he might have.
Benito, like, I need it. And he's like, that's not a batting helmet, but okay.
So for 190, you could have had Jeff Reed or 170, and he's a 9. For a 6, you could have 140 with much better arm, less outs, and some pop. I feel like it just depends on what you're going for. Like if you're gonna punt. I don't know. I don't think many people have drafted Benito Santiago because he feels like you're not punting enough.
No, I don't think I've ever seen him show up in any of our drafts.
And I feel like Jeffrey gets drafted just because people are like, I want a 9 that's cheap as my catcher, and I'm not spending $340 for Tom Lampkin.
Because that guy, like Benito, like you're just like dumping towards the end of the lineup. Whereas like someone like Jeff Reed,
it's not even good enough to dump. Like you almost want to dump even harder.
I mean, like bad dump. Whereas like Jeff Reed goes towards the back of your lineup for a specific use and like doing something,
Yeah, this, again, we've never seen it drafted. It's not to say that it hasn't. It's weird. I don't know. I would not pick him up. So, who's up next? Mr. Sammy Sosa. So this is the big money for this whole entire team. Basically the only relevant player. I mean, he hit weirdly 63 home runs that year and 141 RBIs. It's like the only production from their team was hopefully get Sammy to hit it. I love Sammy Sosa. I've drafted this card before. I drafted the 01 version of my card. I love drafting Sammy. I like Sammy as a player. He got me really sparked up in the 99, 98, 2000 seasons with Mark McGuire and stuff. And I mean, it's fantastic. I love Sosa.
This card, I mean, you've used this card.
Yes, I draft this card a lot in 00 because I think a 14 home run is ridiculous, and 8 is not bad, and you're under 500 points. His 01 card, I think, is even better because he's a 9. B speed, you're not getting hurt. No ground balls, which I think is great. I see 4 outs, not the best, but you're single A at 9, 13's a double, which would be like, it's just weird to say 1 double, but 13's a double. I mean, that's huge. And
Dude,
just 14 home run is just fucking stupid.
Right. I have 180 on like, I used to feel like get on base 9s and 10s. They'll do stuff and they don't. Like in mistake pitch leagues, like especially ours, like mashers matter. And so I've like really believe in like a lot of mashers. And my God, man, like this guy, I get it's 480, like, but it's Sosa. Like,
but I think under 500 points for a monster is great. Yep. Now, yes, would you want a 9? Sure, but an 8 that homers at 14 is ridiculous.
Like an actually scary ass hitter. So here's an interesting hypothetical I'll throw at you. There's another player in the 2000 set that has a very similar chart to him.
Yeah, is it Brant Brown?
It's close. Brant Brown's 13 to 20 home runs. Oh. He actually showed up when I was filtering out a bit. I'm not even gonna say who, but let's say for 240 points, so literally half, you get the same speed. I guess let's say assume similar defense. Very similar chart, more walks maybe, and an on-base 6. So you take that 8 down to a 6, but it's 240 points. How do you feel about
Richie
that?
Sexton?
No, Richie Sexton's close.
Dang.
It's
I know Richie's a 6.
It's 2000 Todd Hundley. So he's
Todd
240.
Hundley?
Yeah,
what?
Dude. He's a catcher. He's a catcher plus forearm. He's an on-base 6. Similar chart, more walks, less singles. I mean,
is he on the Expos? Whose team is he on?
He's on the Dodgers.
Oh yeah, we have. I don't know if we did. We did the Dodgers, didn't we, or we did not? I can't remember.
I don't think we did yet.
Okay, maybe that's why it's not off my head.
But it's interesting because looking at that, and I know that's maybe a bad comparison, but like you're spending a lot to get to that 8. Like I have
not done the Dodgers. Okay.
So, anyway,
yeah. So is 200 points worth 2 on base? Basically, is what the question is.
It seems like 120 points. I know there's some differentiation on the chart there, but yeah, basically 100 points. I would say 100 points per on base.
Mm-hmm.
So, hypothetically, there could have been an on base 7 at 370, which I think would have been right. Like, I think in our custom
that'd
sets,
have been a pretty cool card too. I would have been looking at that 7. I don't know if I'd look at a 6 because I just have seen the 6s just don't get the advantage enough to take advantage of a chart like that. Whereas an 8 gets the advantage a lot, 7 a lot less, but 8 just feels like, I mean, obviously if there was a 9 like this, that's what you want. I mean, a 9 with this chart would be, I think like a McGuire type, like just somebody that's going to hit a lot of home runs. But yeah, I just feel like this card's really fun. If you have never played with this card, I feel like try to play with them. You're going to have a good time. I don't know. It reminds me of Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey, who are 9-16 home run guys, but they're up in the upper 500s. So, and I get 2 more home runs with the 1 less on base. I feel like this card should be 500 something points, and that it's not. That's why I like it.
I feel like this is like the blind draft jackpot.
Oh yeah,
right?
For sure.
It's just like in terms of like what a blind draft is, and like you just want some fun ass players, and like this is that. All right.
Next up, Steve Trashel.
I don't actually know.
Trashel. I don't know this.
Steve Trash. Nope, that's not it. He's actually okay.
This is just a standard. We talked about this card a million times. A standard 3 control, 16 out for 320 to 330 points. Sometimes 340 depending on the chart. Very standard. If you like that kind of player, there's a ton of them like this. He's average. Next up, Joe. Okay, I guess now we're in the pennant run. I did not realize that. We are now entering the pennant run. Joe Girardi coming in now.
Wild chart.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I was like, okay, so let me get like 9 doubles. Like, let me see how many doubles I can get here.
I gotta because what would they have based this on? Let me look it up really quick. This is unusual.
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel like for 80 points, like
it's not bad.
Why not?
So we talked about
why not?
What's his Benito was 140 for a +7 arm at 1 more on base. I would probably rather have this card for basically half the points. I wish he had a couple more points in arm strength, but 1 through 2 out, but then all the rest is just hitting.
Dude, he had 50 hits in 99 on the Yankees.
Was he a rookie?
No, this was towards the end of his career. He started in his first season was 89.
Okay.
Ready for this? 50 hits.
Yeah.
And 16 of those were doubles.
Yeah. So
he had 1 triple, 2 home runs. Like it was just double or nothing, basically.
Yeah, but that's just, it's, yeah. So I think once you get to the 6 on base type of people, you're going to be rolling on the pitcher's chart almost 90% of the time. And then when you do get a chance, that's why I hope that you're 6 or 5, like either you totally punted and you just like didn't care, or you got like a masher. And this to me seems pretty cool to have a giant double range, because you're talking about at 50%, you are getting an extra base hit. That's huge. So, and he doesn't hurt you if you get the advantage, like when you, well, I guess ground ball does hurt you, but 1 through 2 out's not going to hurt you too bad. And no walks.
I think he's worth 80. I would roll with this guy for 80.
I wouldn't be mad.
Honestly.
Next up, we have Ricky Gutierrez. Actually, solid card here. Again, you're totally punting on like hitting the ball here. You're just trying to get on base with a single. You know what I like basically did with Jeff Fry in 2001. Not too bad. 150 points, shortstop +3, feels about right for an 8. I feel like that's pretty nice. I do not like the 1 through 4 ground ball range. I feel like that's where you get hurt the most on this card. I feel like I would hit a ton of double plays at this guy. Yeah,
we talk about ground balls ground ball double plays is one of the worst things that can happen. Like, but ground ball double plays on your own chart is just the ultimate just gut punch. And it it is just asking for this.
Yep.
So yeah, dude. Anyway,
next let's talk about Mr. Thick himself, Glenn Allen Hill. This dude is a beast and did I think really well in 99. He played for 2 teams, I believe. No, just the 1 team, just for Chicago. Sorry, and he played for 2 teams in 2000. But had 20 homers in half a season, third of a season. He played 99 games, so about half a season. He had 20 homers. So he was on pace to do a 40 home run season. So when you look at this card, you're like, oh, here's another guy like Sosa where he's got the 15 home runs instead of 14 home run. And then you're like, wait a second, Sosa was an 8 on base, and he was 480. And this guy's he's a 5 on base for 40. This card's way too pricey. No one's going to draft this guy. You're right. No one is going to draft this guy because it's wrong. They misprinted this card. He was supposed to be an 8 on base. He had a 360 on base, or was it 99? He had 353 on base in 99. He was supposed to be an 8, which would allow for the 440 points. Yep. To be similar to Sosa, but a little less. And again, if you had these 2 guys in your team, like if you were playing a Cubs team and you had the retracted print, or what do you want to call it, fixed error print, and had him as an 8, you'd have 2 8s at home runs at 14 and 15. That'd be pretty freaking beastie. But it would cost you like 900 something points.
Right. No, I mean they made so many mistakes in the 2000 pennant run set. They made almost the same amount of mistakes as they did in 2000, and it's only 150 players, so like that shows you the percentages are way off.
Oh yeah.
And then they didn't make any mistakes in 2001, which shows you why that set why that set is so perfect.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he played for a lot of different teams over the course of his career. He didn't really play a lot though. I feel like he just, like, his longest season was in 95 where he had 500 and I don't know if he got hurt a lot, but he just seemed to play like 300 to 400 bats and then like 100 and something in the Indians here and 200 there. Just never really played a full season. But fun card and fun to know that you could have had an 8, on base guy if they really printed it right. It would have been a much more fun card to see played a lot if you'd have been 8. Now I play with the real version, with the errored version. I'm saying this wrong, with the 8 on base guy. That's what I play with. I don't play with the 5 on base.
Yeah, I'm going to say, imagine drafting the card version of this and then trying to convince all your friends that he's actually an on-base 8. That'd be something I would watch.
Yeah. Especially if they've been playing and didn't really care about baseball. And they're like, no,
the card
says 5.
You add some drinks into the equation. That sounds like a fight waiting to happen.
Next up is Kevin Tapani, I believe. And interesting card here. So when you get the 3-6 IP 1 through 16 out, use either 330. This one, though, because of the no walks and the 2 doubles, drops at 70 points, basically 60 to 70 points. So is that extra double instead of the walk is it worth almost 100 points? And I don't know. It's
Or
interesting.
would you spend if it was this against who was the other? Was it Trashel?
Yeah.
Who would you pick if you
I
had
w-
if
I
you
would
had the salary team? Who would you take?
I would probably have Trashel. I don't like two doubles. Some people have rolled with it and they actually didn't get hurt that bad. So I don't know. I don't like it.
I would take Tapani here. I would.
You would.
I for 70 points
I
cheaper
could
for
see it.
just yeah. I mean, I get like you're gonna have a bad game, but so is Trashel gonna have a bad game. Like I don't know. I'm just like we're at the whims of the dice gods. But yeah, no, I would roll with Tapani every time.
I don't think it's that bad. I can see the argument for it. Got decent ground ball range. I don't know. I personally don't like two doubles, but then again, I don't mind a guy with one homer. I don't. I'm a weird person.
Right.
Next up, this guy is a fucking stud. Kerry Wood gets drafted all the time. He's a great card. I love 4 control 16 out players. This one has no doubles and only one single, which I think is huge. And I mean, 520 is a lot, but I would pay that. I've only seen him do well. Like he does amazing.
No, I think in our hyper focused, like trying to avoid doubles.
Oh yeah,
like our group of people that do that, myself included. Oh my God, yeah, he always gets rostered.
He's the crown jewel of the no doubles type person. I mean, do you remember how Kevin did with him that year that he picked him up?
I think she did pretty well, and I was trying to think of trying to find the other guys who did. I think yeah, it looks on this. I think 2000 Blake Stein is similar.
He's isn't he like a 2 or 3 control?
And he's 16 through 19 walk. That's the difference. I don't think there's anyone else like yeah, or no. Well, Kerry Wood is actually pretty similar to Octavio Dotel in 2000 is same outs, but the single goes to a double. And then Matt Clement on the Padres is similar chart, but 2 control. So yeah, which I've actually, I don't think I've ever seen any of those other, I've seen Dotel get rostered, but Wood definitely, and Matt Clement, no, but people stay away from control 2s. But
so what's interesting here is he didn't even play in 99.
But like he was I mean I remember as a kid he was a very buzzy player.
Well, he had that 20 strikeout game, which got him all sorts of recognition. He had great few years with the Cubs where he just racked up strikeouts, but he got Rookie of the Year. He had an amazing 1998 season where in 166 innings he had 233 strikeouts. He had 3.4 ERA, which I think is great for a rookie. And he obviously won the award. I think they were super hyped on him, and he gets hurt, so he doesn't play in 99. So out comes the showdown set. They're like, this guy is didn't play, so we're not going to put him in the set. But the pennant run was all about like getting ready for the next season. Oh yeah, and they were like, he's going to be a stud.
This was a marketing move. A good marketing, a good marketing move for that. He didn't have a great 2000 season.
Correct. So he dropped off, but then he quickly rebounded. In 2001, 2002, he did well, and then 2003 was an all-star, had 266 strikeouts.
It's wild. He only made an all-star team twice in his career, though, and he had solid. I mean, somewhat solid.
Played for the Indians.
Dude, I kind of forgot about that, to be honest. He was making a lot of money from the Indians. Wow.
Yeah, I think I always liked him because again, I grew up in the 99, 2000, like loving wrestling and baseball. Like that's kind of how I grew up. And when he's gotten those 20 strikeouts game, he was young and just making people look silly. I was like, this guy is incredible. Like he's going to be a stud. And he hurt a lot and sort of, I don't know, didn't work out for him. But the card is awesome. I love that it's a foil. It's super fun. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a beloved card. I would say a lot of people feel strongly that this is one of the best cards in 2000, especially for the points.
Absolutely. And then last up, Eric Young. Now this feels pretty solid to me. I like an 8A speed person, decent second baseman. 210 points feels solid. He's A speed. You're sort of just grabbing this guy to get hits. You're not overwhelmed by him. This is like a Jeff Fry type.
I don't think he's really. I don't feel strongly that he's under or
Yeah,
overvalued.
I feel like you're just about there, about 200 points here. I actually like these kind of people, like is it Miguel Cairo, who's a second
Mhm.
base +4 A speed. I think he's 230 or 240, but he's the kind of guy I look at. Sometimes I'll punt on short or on second base, just grab a guy that can field that's not going to hurt me. And
Yeah.
I've done that many times. And Eric Young, I think, does that as well here.
Dude, I wanna like, I wish I had it and I could pick it up quickly. But like, do the Cubs win in single plus like category? Because it seems like single plus shows up so often for their team.
Right.
So have guys who figure out ways to stretch that single out, and they had to give that to him. So
Yeah, I do not know, and obviously maybe someone listening to this can tell us, or maybe Jeff will search on the afterwards. But that is the Chicago Cubs. I thank you guys again for listening. I know it's been a while, and this was maybe a little longer because we talked a lot about some of our other leagues. So maybe the other ones will be shorter coming forward. But you know how we like to ramble and get into our history, and I think that's what makes this interesting when we podcast about this stuff.
heck yeah.
Next up, I think I think we only have a few teams left, if I'm not mistaken. We have the Dodgers. We have the Mariners, the Rangers, and the Rockies. So 4 teams left, and we'll hopefully do those over the next month or so, if time allows, and try to keep them about 30 minutes to an hour, and hopefully you guys like to listen to these. Any last words on the Cubs, Mr. Jeff?
No, single plus kings. I love it.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.